see. Stay clear, I need to check.
Very rarely do we talk about the EMTs in those ambulances who bring people to the hospital to hopefully save their lives. It's an extraordinary job.
So often in an action movie, you have a gun battle, there's bodies on the ground, you leave them behind. No, this whole movie is about you can't leave somebody behind. Because there's something about, people that want to rush into a disaster. You watch the news, there are social workers and paramedics and doctors, and they're racing into the disaster. And I'm always like, why would anybody do that?
I got a cop shot. We gotta get him to the hospital.
I felt so inspired to really honor what a paramedic does and a frontline responder is living day to day.
One of the coolest things about this role was driving downtown LA behind the wheel of an ambulance, and people honk their horns. Strangers, pedestrians would tip their caps because of just how much these people do for us. And they are heroes, literally.
We are trying to save you.
3, 2, 1, go.
Where did he get shot?
The leg.
Anything else?
I don't know.
Are you sure?
I feel such a responsibility, and I would always tell Michael every single day, we have to make sure to honor the paramedics. We gotta honor the first responders.
I do think research is incredibly important. And we did have someone who was a paramedic who was on set.
My name is Danny Wirtz, and I am the Director of Clinical Operations for Falck Ambulance. I've been in emergency medical services for about 28 years now.
Danny was such a great inspiration. It was so cool to see a woman that has made her way through this wild business and saved so many lives and has kept that spark going and that love for what she does.
I pull up hard.
Good, okay, good.
And then
Quiet, guys.
touch his pulse, and I'm gonna bam, bam, smack him in the chest. Because that's, you want him to wake up.
So that was Danny's job, to work with them and say, this is what you do in this order. This is where your hand goes. Because one of the ways you can tell an experienced EMT or paramedic is how confident they are.
She trained to really understand authenticity. What does that person reach for without looking because they know where everything is in that ambulance?
I started discovering little silly things that I never even thought of. Like, for instance, the seats in the ambulance are so low sometimes that you're leaning forward to help the patient. That cuts circulation to your body, so it can give you lighthead and make you nauseous and pass out. I learned that a lot of them just squat in a very strong position. They train so much physically to be able to lift bodies, obviously, to be able to grip on the floor.
Yo, Danny, relax.
And to think that lives are saved within a space that small, and that the people who do that are able to keep their composure is nothing less than extraordinary.
Come on. Medics here, let him in.
Well, if you think about it, first responders, firemen, police, paramedics, they deal with human tragedy every day. And in the movie, there's a great line that Cam says, the worst moment of their life, that's just our Tuesday afternoon.
It's really unfortunate that in emergency medical services, people have a pretty high incidence of mental and emotional health, PTSD, and unfortunately a very high suicide rate.
We sometimes get to see in projects them being saviors, right? We see that beautiful side of the paramedics, but we never see the other side of the breakdown.
Oh, I can't do it, I bled.
Hey.
I think it's so important to see that because that is a real portrayal of how it is for a paramedic. We see it with Cam, and eventually I think it catches up with her.
We take a lot of steps to look after their mental health because if you keep it to yourself, it's not the kind of thing that you can just live with forever. Some of the stuff that you've had to see can haunt you.
Well, we've got about 50,000 guns to your head, Danny.
It's been really great to get to know some of the guys that are, sprinkled through the cast that are actual law enforcement or first responder kinds of people.
Michael is very well known. He's got a lot of friends that are in police forces, Navy SEALs, Rangers.
He not only has relationships with LAFD, Los Angeles Fire Department, but he has great relationships with the SWAT members of Los Angeles Police Department, LAPD.
All the SWAT guys you see here, these are the real deal. These are actually LAPD SWAT guys that came out to help us out. And then also for some of the SIS undercover guys, they're all LAPD officers. So we just kind of drew from people we knew and asked them if they'd come in and help us out.
So he likes to use those people because they add a reality to the work that they do as opposed to having to try to train extras to do things that are so specific.
Having somebody who for years they've had to shoot, move, and communicate versus a person who's, yes, they're a trained actor, but then you're giving them a gun or then you're saying, now act like this. You know what I mean? And there is a clear difference.
Remy showed me how to load up the rifle and how to hold it. And he just was very detailed. And so I really appreciated that, because one thing I wanted to do was to look authentic, as authentic as possible.
I think what struck me the most and what I tried to sort of hold on to was the level of calm they're able to achieve in the most stressful situations.
Lock everything down. Nothing gets out. I want mobile command moving in 5. Let's go, boys.
They've been pretty instrumental in helping us sound authentic and, look authentic and behave in a way that won't embarrass them.
The script change, for instance, when you have a SWAT team telling you that that's not the way it would actually go.
That's what I ask at the end of every take when they're involved. I say, did I embarrass you? Most of the time they say no.
We have amazing police tech advisors. They're really great because with Bay, it's always on the fly. New things are coming in continuously. So it meant that none of us had to pretend too much.
At the end of the day, I tremendously respect those guys, and I want them to get home safe. Because you look at those guys, whether it's military, fire, police, EMTs, whatever, and the time that they put in service, and then come out and help us too, on the back end of their careers. It's indescribable to be working with those guys and the amount of respect that they deserve.
I don't know what happened. Just start breathing.
It takes a very special type of human being. I don't think that we all fully understand what lengths people go to sacrifice their own lives to save other people.
It was impressive to understand so much about what they do and how much they save other people's lives was so inspiring to me. And I have so much respect for anyone that does this job.